Welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Void podcast. Vince and I here, excited about another week where we get to share with you the answers to the questions that was posed to leadership several months ago. And today we're covering number 6. What do you find most challenging about your role? And I'm excited to explore this question, Vince, because when we ask for input, you get it. And there was a lot of interesting things that came out of that question, a lot of things that people deposited in as far as answers. And I'm looking forward to exploring that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's start off and kick it off. The first one, so there was a lot of different answers, but we compiled it into these top 5. The first one was about motivation and engagement. And as you think about that as a leader, you're influencing. So right there, you have to really understand them. And how do we do that? Again, by listening, having that communication that's frequently and effective. So that's first and foremost. You as a leader have to be welcoming. You have to create that environment that inspires creativity, innovation, and values each and every individual, truly making them part of your team. It's about team autonomy. If you want to keep motivation and engagement, make sure you keep your promises. Promises are awesome to acknowledge and to keep because your word is bond. Recognize their successes, and when you think of successes, not the intrinsic success motivations, but also the intrinsic ones. You just don't want to throw money at them all the time. You want to also understand what they value as a motivator. So that's always good. Be fair and consistent throughout. Just like if you have to reprimand, make sure you do that equally, because they all talk and understand that, hey, why is he or she treating this person versus that person differently? Focus on that why. Be the champion of the vision of your organization. Be the champion of yourself and make sure it replicates throughout and ripple effect throughout. And I'll say lastly, shift from the golden rule to the platinum rule, which is treat people the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated.
That's amazing. And when you talk about your word as a leader, that is so important. And a lot of people don't understand how important that really is. Your word, and depending on, your position on that leadership chain, your word could be gospel, and more. And so when we deal with CEOs and we're talking about mentorship and coaching, that word could really tip the company or the organization in the wrong direction. So you got to be careful about your word. And when we're talking about motivation and engagement, your word could truly either get folks behind you and engaged or disengage folks all together. It's funny when we talk about motivation and engagement and how it comes to play with people, right? Because it's one thing to motivate and get one person engaged. What do you say about motivating groups of people? Diverse personalities come into play.
Oh yeah, well, that drives into the second point is managing diverse personalities. You know, and we need that because that's what creativity and innovation comes from, and really yields great results. It goes back to that first thing I mentioned a while back is you have to sharpen your saw on your superpower, which is listening and communicating in general. That's where it all begins. To be open to different perspectives and have that open channel communication. So first and foremost, one thing is don't take things personally. They're really just expressing themselves. So just understand and learn how to handle your egos because that will get in the way 99% of the time. Thirdly, is keep the gossip in a positive light. positively versus the negative channels. Eradicate and definitely stop those from happening. The fourth one is be that example on and off duty. Always modeling that great behavior and the right behavior to treat everybody equally and equitably. And lastly, work on yourself. Work on what ticks you off and make sure that you are understanding what's making you the way you are. It's about increasing your self-awareness, surrounding yourself with diverse groups of people on and off duty will definitely help you manage those diverse personalities.
I'm glad you mentioned you know, developing yourself, because that's what we do. That's what we speak about. One of the things that I see most often uh, is a struggle for leaders is, where do you get the time to do all these things? Where do you get the time to help people get motivated and engaged? Where do you get the time to manage diverse personalities? Because we know one person may require a couple of minutes. Another person will require several hours. Some people require several weeks in attention and help in helping them develop. So, with so much to do, what do we do about time?
Yeah, time management. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. But interesting enough, so as a coach, I heard clients talk time and time again about time management. You know, they want to work on time management. So I found that speaking to certain clients, it's the lack of true work-life balance, taking really quality time for self and loved ones. And also what come into play is not effective delegation or empowerment. So that's understandably some things that drive into that cog of the time management. Because listen, folks, we all have a little bit of workaholic in us. We should distinguish between the healthy time working and the unhealthy time working that we are, and that we create. We are the ones that create that environment. So just quick tips on that is make that schedule, and stick to it. Start improving your time management skills day in and day out, and advance to the weeks. Prioritize your definitely your tasks A, B, and C. What needs to be done is priority A, like today, versus B's and C's that can wait for tomorrow, next week. Set some boundaries, folks, is important. Account for good distractions and avoid the bad distractions, like those pings, those dings that come on your laptop or tablet every once in a while can be distractors. And sometimes technology is really a blessing and a curse. So if you need help, ask for help with technology versus you trying to solve it, because it's taking away your time. And lastly, try never to procrastinate. That's always a default that some of us have, or a weakness. But those are pretty much, make the schedule, set the priorities, do some boundaries, good distractions, avoid the bad ones, some help with technology, and lastly, never procrastinate.
Yeah, I love technology, right? We're both exploring that area ourselves right now, but it's so true to in order to get good in time management, you have to be active. You have to be your own coach and your own mentor in those areas to keep yourself on track. And the reason is that if you're a leader, or you're looking into leadership, or you're looking into guiding groups, you must be convincing, right? You must be something that someone will look at and say, that's the way to go. That's how I want to do it. But if you don't do it, then you won't be able to convince anybody. And it's one of the challenges of being a leader, helping others see something a certain way. Some people will call it, being on the same sheet, right? Hey, come on, let's get on the same sheet of music. What would you tell us about, the point where a leader is challenged with getting people convinced and getting on the same sheet.
Yeah, right. So convincing others was the point, the fourth point they brought up in this question. And it drives back into different perspectives of different personalities and motivating and empowering. So one thing, and one, as we talk about communication is the key, it resoundingly is effective here because we have to choose our words carefully, as you mentioned earlier. Our words is really can make or break. So choose them carefully. Also, you have to be confident when you speak. If you want to convince others, confidence, the way you position your body has a lot to do with the words that come out of your mouth. And the second one, take deep breath because sometimes you just have to be patient but you have to be persistent. You have to toggle between the both of them. When you present your ideas, not always just what you want to do, what are the pros and cons? You want to connect with the audience because they are also need to be involved with that decision and create the action steps, clarify the process if need be. But most of all, show the respect for others' opinions if they come up. Validate them. You want to create this trust. And once you create trust and that respect, it's a lot easier to get people on your side or on the same page for that mission.
That is one of the most value keys to leadership: trust. And anything we do, if we're going to generate what we consider the leader follower relationship, trust is what binds that. And anyone doing something to be followed, that it requires trust. You on a day-to-day, just as a basic leader, if you want to be a leader, you want to have that leadership mindset, you want to drive a force, it will not happen if trust is not there. And it makes the difference between leading and managing.
No, yeah, which literally is the last thing that was the most challenging for leaders out there is truly leading instead of manage. But you have to have a clear distinction of, you're managing the work and you're leading people, right? So leading is about influencing and creating value. So if you catch yourself exercising your power, you're managing. If you're needing to execute, you're managing. If you're working in the business, you're managing. Leaders create the playbooks. They're more strategic. So if these are issues you're working on or challenges or opportunities, it's probably a good time to find a mentor or a coach to help you benefit on working on your leadership skills. Because leadership is the act of helping people or a group achieve an agreed upon goal. So again, one thing I share with clients is looking under the hood, because at times leaders say, it's a lot easier for me have the ability to lead with people that are great or have the ability and the confidence in certain people that have certain skills, but not with others. So they shift to managing versus leading. So that's about you. It's not about them. So if you have the confidence and ability of certain teammates versus others, then you will shift and toggle from leadership and managing. So again, it starts with you there.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I love the fact that these answers came from the public, right? This is what people are saying at large, at least for the sample that we were able to engage. Motivating and engaging is one of the challenges of managing diverse personalities, time management, convincing others to be on the same sheet of music. And as you just talked about, truly leading instead of managing. These are issues. We know that they're not the only issues. They're just the ones that came up in the survey. And so that's why we encourage you, if you're listening and you want to get answers to leadership specific things that Vince and I can address, hey, just send them our way. The leadership void at gmail.com. Please send us your concerns, your questions. It may make one of our future segments. We may just bring it up, if we get it on the email. But don't go with your questions unanswered, having a resource. And we're here to facilitate those things. We do this every Wednesday morning, and we're happy to. It is really one of our joys to be able to address leadership issues. And so, we have been going from the questions to interviewees, right? And it is very exciting for us to see folks come on the show and provide their own value. And we've been focusing on leadership because that's what we do. And we're having a special guest next week. Who's that?
Oh, yeah. So we're very fortunate next week to have Ricardo Garcia, representing the Veterans Entrepreneurship Initiative, which is VEI for short, another great veteran support organization here in Central Florida. They really are there to empower and support veteran entrepreneurs, and they support through business guidance, education, and mentorship. So we're very excited to have him on Wednesday, June 24th, and we'll hear more about the Veteran Entrepreneurship Initiative and a little bit more about Ricardo Garcia. So we're so excited about that. And I also want to say, for those that are out there, don't feel that if you're holding back and not wanting to reach out to us, guess what? We don't have to disclose who you were. Just, again, pose your questions and we will state, hey, general questions came up. It's not about, in this case, you're helping others. So be the one to be vulnerable and have the courage to raise up certain leadership areas that are challenging or have opportunities that you're seeking. Again, theleadershipvoid@gmail.com. And lastly, if anybody out there is in a company that wants to have a spotlight on the Leadership Void, to be a sponsor, please let us know. theleadershipvoid@gmail.com. We will be gladly represent you and your company with either your t-shirt, your logo, your mug. Be grateful to have another great segment representing another community group leader that want to create unity and leadership within.
All right, folks. So you heard it all. Reach out to us. We'll address the issues that come our way. And stay tuned every Wednesday morning. Vince and I come live to you so you could hear these things that we have been getting through our surveys and through these special speakers. And next week is going to be a very good one. And Vince, what I'm feeling is that we're starting to go nationwide here. So stay tuned, everybody, for future guests that are coming from across the states. We have a great campaign in mind, and we'll let you know when all the solid plans are set. But thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening and spending your time, your life with us.
I appreciate you, everyone. Have a great afternoon and day.